Okay, quickly now, I'm going to discuss the chords that I used in the key of D, chords that I used to play Funny How Time Slips Away, Willie Nelson classic. And as I mentioned, it's in the key of D. I have a downloadable chord sheet that shows the charts for all these chords, and you can download that from my website. And Funny How Time Slips Away lesson, my website is theamateurmandolinist.com. So if you haven't downloaded that, I've got that, and plus sheet music and other things that you can download to go along with this. So I show all of these cards in that chord chart, and I'm just going to quickly show you how they're used. There are three forms of the D chord, three different fingers of voices that I use in this song. The first one is two finger D chord, which is sort of an open D chord down here on the second fret. Sounds like that. The second fingering is up here at the seventh fret with your ring finger, your index on the fourth fret, and your middle finger on the fifth fret. And you can use that finger to catch both the A strings and the E strings, but I just typically, in this song and in fact in most of my playing, I use this as a three-note chord. It's actually a chord that has the root, the third, and another root, and no fifth in it. The fifth would be down here on this A. But when you play it with only three strings, you're skipping the fifth, you're omitting the fifth. I use that quite a bit. And that chord is used more than any other D chord in this song. This one is used once, and only at the very beginning. All the rest of the song, when you play a D chord, it'll be this one, until the very end of the song. At the very last measure, at the end of this song, the very last chord played in this song is going to be this D chord. And you're going to want to catch all four strings because you want that high note to sound. That's a high D. There's your low D. And to make that chord, we're on the seventh fret and we're barring the G and the D string. Then we skip a fret here, and on the ninth fret, we catch the A string with our ring finger. And then we catch the E string on the 10th fret with our pinky. When you play it, go ahead and arpeggiate it like that to make sure that you've got all the strings ringing out properly. And if you haven't already learned this chord and moved it all up and down the neck to make different chords, if you haven't already learned this shape, then it's important, I think, that you go ahead while you're learning this song and learn this shape well and be able to get to it. From here, you want to be able to do this. All right, that's the very last chord in the song. Now, moving on quickly, try not to get bogged down too much. I just have to say that I used this chord at the very beginning of the song, and you're not going to see that on the sheet music. There are a lot of things that I do that I just don't put on the sheet music whenever I transcribe and, write out the notation or the tab for a piece of music. If I put down every ornament that I used, it would be tedious. If I had shown this chord fingering on the sheet music, then it would have made it a little more complicated to do the sheet music because the first verse starts with this, the rest of the verses start with this. And instead of using endings and repeat signs, it would have complicated my sheet music. Let me just put it that way. There are reasons. So this chord you're not going to find on the sheet music, but in reality, when I play this song, whether I play it live or in the recording that you heard, I start out, the very first chord played in this song is this two-finger D. I I love that open sound. And so I'm just going to kind of brush that D like that. Slowly rake the strings. And I'm going to play that one time. And I'm going to play it on the second syllable of the word hello when I sing the lyrics. It goes something like this. Well, hello there. My, it's been a long, long time. How am I doing? As you can see, how am I doing? I'm starting up here now. I only play this one time. That's at the very beginning of the song, on the second syllable of the word hello. All right. That covers the D chord. We have one D7 in that song, and that's going to be here. Now, you're going to look that up on the chord chart. It'll probably be about the fourth chord that is shown there after the three Ds. And that's our D7. We use that as a passing chord from D to G. This is an E7. It looks exactly the same as the D7. All right, so we have three Ds. We have one D7. We have one E7. If that E7 is hard to catch, then at the very end of the very last chord on these charts is the E5 down here. You can substitute that for the E7 if it's easier for you, and I've done that while I sing this song. It works out pretty well. Now, we have two forms of the G chord in this song. The first one is this open G down here. The second one is this closed G shape here. And you're going to find both those on the chord chart. Only I don't play typically. I typically do not play this high B. When I play that G chord, I'll only play these three strings. Okay. And then you have two forms of the A chord. One here, which is just like this one. This D I showed you earlier. Move it down here, you got the A. Move it here, you got the G. Okay. Anyway, we got this A chord, which is a full A chord that we play in this song, and I typically do play all four strings. And then we've got this A chord, in which I typically do not play that string. I'm sorry, this string. I typically do not play that string. I leave it off, and I can mute this string or just fail to hit it. And that's the same as this G chord I showed you. So you got a G here, you got a G here, you got an A here, you got an A here, you got a D here, you got a D here, and you got a D here. Then you got a D7 and an E7. If it's hard to play that E7, you play the E5. In the next video, I'm going to go according to the sheet music that I created for this arrangement, and I'm going to go through the verse. We're going to talk about the rhythms, we're going to talk about the fills, and we're going to use these chords that we're learning from this sheet in order to play the song from start to finish. I hope you enjoy it. Peace, love, and mandolins.